Everybody wants more leads, but let's be real. Most agents don't need a lead, don't have a lead problem. They have possibly a lead and a conversion problem. And today's guest, he's figured out both of these. He's a former broker owner like myself. He runs one of the strongest teams that Real Broker has for years. He's cracked the code on generating online leads in any market and more importantly, turning them how to turn them into closings and profitability, right? We talked offline about this. So if you've ever felt like you're throwing money at ads or struggling to follow up, this conversation, my hope, is going to be a giant game changer for you. So I'm excited to welcome Joe Herrera to the show. Joe is a growth ambassador, one of the original growth ambassadors at Real Broker, co-founder of Grow with Velocity, which we'll talk about, leader of the Joe Taylor Group, and one of the minds behind United, which is bringing online and in-person educational events to agents all across North America consistently. So that's a lot. Instead of me just reading out more, which I could because his resume is huge, Joe, I want you to just kick it off with something, your version of your intro, as short and sweet, and maybe as fun as you can, as if you're
Yeah.
speaking to a group that maybe has never heard from you, which might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Darren's the one that got away when Darren was looking at Real. We did a call, and I wish I could go back and say the right things. But anyways, happy to be working with you, Darren. You're doing awesome, and love what you're doing with Redline and everything. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm a guy who wanted to be an attorney but didn't want to go to school, and so I saw real estate or insurance as my path to creating income for myself. So I was 21 when I got into real estate. Been in it now for 25 years. Gosh, dang. No, that's not right. 25 years. I'm 46. That is right. Um, so I was a Remax guy forever. Our Remax franchise converted over to Better Homes and Gardens. We started an independent brokerage at that time. This is 2010. Ran that for a couple of years. Ended up selling our interest in that brokerage. Started another brokerage. Um, Vegas is kind of the home of the 100% company. Like everybody in Vegas wants 100% splits. So we had a 100% model that we were running. We got approached by a company that tried to buy us out. They offered us just shy of $2 million for our brokerage. We took it to our mentoring coach, a Keller Williams coach by the name of Brett Tanner. And Brett was like, "Hey, I've heard of this new company, just kind of starting to make some waves called Real.
Oh, yeah.
They're less than 2,000 agents in all of North America. They're not in Nevada. Why don't you guys take a look at it?" So we started our due diligence process on Real. This is early 2021. Kind of fell in love with the concept, really loved Tamir, the CEO, was really enamored with Pritesh, the CTO, and saw the opportunity to delineate ownership with the 100 agents that worked for us. And, to just kind of say like, hey, there's no more me and you. It's just us. We're all part of the same company. And so we moved over to Real in June of 2021. So we just hit our 4-year anniversary. Um, Massive growth, unexpected but massive, life-changing growth at Real. I've always been a lead generation guy. Like
Right.
you and I have a mutual friend, Amy Youngren out of Toronto. Amy and I were part of the curator ecosystem, Chris Smith and Jimmy Mackin for years. Her specialty was like branding and YouTube. My specialty was online lead generation. And so um, I just figured out a long time ago you could do quick and dirty and easy ads that generate leads that convert and allow you to still be profitable as a team leader. Um, so that's kind of me as a businessman. Me as a person, I'm a passionate husband. I've been married to the same woman for 23 years. We have 4 kids that I'm obsessed with. A 21-year-old boy, 19-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl, 13-year-old boy. They're all doing cool stuff. My son works for us. He's running our velocity stuff. My
Okay.
19-year-old daughter's in hair school. She's going to be a cosmetologist. My 16-year-old is a little entrepreneur. She runs a nail business out of our dining room. She makes like 6 grand a month, just crushing it on doing all my wife's friends' nails. And my 13-year-old is a highly competitive junior golfer. He competed at Junior Worlds this year, and he's a monster. He's an animal actually. He's kind of a little jerk on the golf course, but he's really good. So that's like when I got into real estate, Darren, I don't know if you remember this, the National Association of Realtors in the US, the slogan was, "We are realtors, real estate is our life." Real estate's not my life. My life is my family, my faith. Real estate's how I provide
Mm.
for the things that really matter to me, and it's been really good to me.
And you've been in a partnership for quite a long time, like me. So, like Brett and I have been partners since 2005,
Yeah.
business partners, which you and I know. And in a year, how long have you been partners?
Taylor and I started in 2005. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay, wow.
Yep. He's claiming, yeah, this is our 20-year anniversary, which is crazy.
You know, we're the same. And it's you and I have seen zillions of partnerships come and go, right? Like it's
Right.
almost the norm is to see somebody form together. Somehow something gets in the way and then boom, things explode, right? So
Right.
that's neat. Yeah, I mean, that's another layer that we have. I wanted to start big picture to get this going. Because online leads, you mentioned that they're one of the most talked about things, aren't they? And honestly, one of the most, I think, misunderstood strategies. They're talked about a lot, but then nobody really knows the goods behind the scenes, right? It's just like what's involved with making this work. Why do you think online lead gen is both the most sought after strategy? Because it's, okay, I can just turn up the dial, but yet the most misused or improperly used. Any thoughts come to mind when I say that?
Well, I think a couple of things. I don't think real estate agents got into real estate to be marketing people. Like most of the people I know that got into real estate did so for one of two reasons. They saw the upside that they could, the financial upside, and or they truly love working with people in a like in a exchange, what's the right word? Like in a transaction that creates happiness.
Right. Yeah.
And so then they get in there, and a lot of times they're like, I'll just sell a couple of homes to my family and friends. They find out that's not that easy, and or they don't have enough family and friends to create the type of financial income that they need to provide for their families. So then the very natural thing is to go, well, where can I get more people? And
Right.
so generally that leads to online marketing. We went through a period of time, we just came out of it. I would call it the era of entrepreneurship, where lead generation became less traditional and became more, I'm cute. I'm going to post videos of myself. People are going to DM me because I'm fun and cute. And then I'm just going to get clients. I do think we're coming out of that phase a little bit and we're back into, man, do I do Google PPC? Do I pay Zillow or Realtor.com here in the States? Do I try to do it myself? And so I think like most things in real estate, none of it is as easy as we think it's going to be. But I think at its nexus, it's just it's an admittance by people in the industry. Like I don't know enough people at church or the gym or that I went to high school with that are buying enough houses with the frequency I need to be able to create the income I need.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the those that are good with people, but then it's just to have the volume of people and have that extrovertedness to go out and
Right.
put yourself consistently, as we know, into conversations. There are folks that will do that and they'll never touch online lead gen, right? But they are just really good at consistently driving a bigger growth network of people that is, I think, is beyond the average person too, isn't it? So this is where online lead gen comes a little bit, right?
It's a skill set. And there's also people that have advantages, right? If my wife was the head of the school board in Las Vegas, and every new teacher that comes to Las Vegas that wants to buy a house, she hands them a certificate that just says, my husband will give you a $3,000 credit toward your closing costs if you use them. And they're like, well, I can't get on the bad side of her,
Yeah.
or if female agents married to like a male doctor plastic surgeon guy who owns a surgery center, and every new doctor that moves to town is like, oh, you got to use my wife, right? It's like those are distinct advantages. Kobe Bryant was born to a highly athletic, highly competitive father who played professional baseball or basketball. That was his advantage in the world. And now he took the most use of it. But there are people who don't need leads because they're like, I don't know, my husband's a firefighter and all of his firefighter buddies just buy and sell houses with me.
So
Great. I don't have any of those advantages. So I had to resort to like traditional lead gen.
So when you were running your brokerage or brokerages and or teams, what role does online lead gen play in your growth? What percentage is just to give
Yeah.
everybody an idea.
Um, so on our team, it's everything.
Okay.
Um, there are teams that run primarily on culture and branding, which is rad. Like North Group with Amy. I don't think Amy does lead gen. What she does is culture and branding. And I'm like, that's awesome. I do think it's somewhat market specific.
Right.
For me, I don't have a team unless I'm providing them with opportunities. Straight up. Like lead gen for our team has been everything. When we were growing our brokerage, previous to rolling over to Real, the brokerage growth we operated kind of as a team ridge. It was like we provide leads, therefore agents would join us. We try to have good culture. We try to have good branding. We try to provide a beautiful office. So we try all that, but at its core, it's like, hey, Darren, we'd love to work with you. We have leads that need a good agent to help them close. And you're like, well, cool. What's the split? And like that, for us, it's been pretty much everything. Now, our network growth at Real has been very different because it's not something we do intra-network, but
Right.
any of our team growth has always been lead generation based.
Yeah, so you found that that was a skill of yours early, and you learned it and have built things from it, and it continues to be like really high on your value prop, and it's because you're great at it. So it's like we don't have to like, like some coaches will say, well, if they're looking for leads, send them out the door. But in reality, you're actually looking for agents like that because you really it works for you and you know it drives.
Everyone's got their thing, right? Like it's like uh, you know, Brad McCallum is great with video. And it's like, I wouldn't know the first thing of how to do what he does. Like he's just so good. He sees things. And for me, I'm just a nerdy guy where you're like, hey, man, can you come up to Calgary and just run some ads for me that generate leads for my team? I'd be like, well, yeah, for sure. This is a very simple process. And you may go like, it seems very complicated, but the way my geeky little mind works is it's just very simple for me to go, there are some restrictions. Like you and I were talking about Banff. I wouldn't be a good lead generator in Banff. Because Banff is a resort community and it's like, what's truly the target market? I'm sure a specific number of Banff's home buyers come from Vancouver. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
you put me in
super.
a large,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's too specialized. If you put me in a large metropolitan area, I can generate leads that convert at a 3 to 5% clip on rinse and repeat very simply.
Okay, let's break that down just a little bit. What's working today, but maybe, it wasn't working before? Is there like some nuances to the changes how online have gone? Or are you finding that it is, kind of what you've learned before continues to be the best practice? Can you share a little bit of that for the audience?
Yeah, so let me do two things. Number one, it is the exact same. I've been doing the same stupid thing for 16 years, or not, maybe we started in like 2013, so like 12 years,
Yeah.
the same geeky thing. What doesn't work, I'll tell you, is there's only, and I started talking about this before we started, like there's only three levers a team leader can pull when it comes to profitability. So lever number one is the split you have with your agent. If you can find people to work with you, and if 100% GCI comes in and they're willing to work for 20 or 30%, you could do a million things that creates profitability. Your turnover rate's going to be massive because someone's always going to be willing to offer them a better split. But if you can say like, hey, join my team, I'll keep 70, you keep 30, as a team leader, you could be profitable. Most teams operate on a blended split of like 50-50 on leads and somewhere in the 70 to 90% on SOI deals.
Right.
So that lever you can pull to increase profitability is split based. Now, you could do that, but the more split you take, the higher your turnover rate is. The less split you take, the lower your turnover rate is, but the less profit you have.
Yeah.
So profitability metric number two is conversion rate. So if I'm providing you with opportunities and you can convert them at 20%, I can make a lot of money off of that. The industry average is somewhere in between 2 to 5%, maybe 1 to 5%, depending on the lead source. Like Google PPC, really low, like maybe 1%. Uh, Zillow Flex might even be up toward the like 10 to 15% conversion rate.
Right.
So then it goes to number three, which is what is our cost to acquire a lead? So what doesn't work, if you walk down this reverse engineer path with me, let's say My split with you as an agent is 50-50. So 10,000 gross commission comes in, you get five, I get five. Well, then let's go to conversion rate. If your conversion rate is 5%, so I give you 20 leads, you close one. The next thing I have to look at is what did it cost me to acquire those leads? So if I reverse engineer the math and I say every lead cost me $400 and my conversion rate is 5% and my split is, and sorry if this is geeking out for anybody, but it's really important that team leaders understand this.
Oh,
So
totally.
cost me $400 to acquire a lead. My conversion rate is 5% and my split is 50-50. Well, if we go, all right, 10,000 came in, Darren gets five, Joe gets five. Let me ignore conversion rate for a second and just say that lead cost me $400. You made 5,000, I made 4,600. That's the way most team leaders think. And the flaw in it is they are not accounting for the 19 leads that didn't close. So now
Yeah.
the true metric is I spend $400 to create 20 leads. So my cost is $8,000. The GCI is 10. You get five, I get five. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. We just brought in $10,000. And, you know, people who don't think about it in the correct way would go, oh, yeah, it only costs us 500. So we have 95 net. No, it costs you 8,000. So Darren makes five and Joe, the team leader, loses $3,000 on that lead. So that's why
Right.
it doesn't work. For us, our metrics are very different. Our cost per lead ends up being somewhere between $30 and $50 a piece. So now running that same metric, if I'm spending $50 a lead and we convert one out of every 20, 20 times 50 is 1,000. 10,000 comes in, Darren gets five, I get five minus 1,000. As a team leader, I still made four, which by the way, then goes to pay for toilet paper and front desk and everything else. But at
Totally.
least
Yeah.
there's something to do that with. So like,
Yeah.
I can't stop beating the drum of the reason why, if you look at real trends, the top 20 teams in every state, I think 17 of them don't actually make money because they're either paying too much for their leads, their conversion rate is too low, or their splits are too high.
Are you finding those that are trying to do it themselves, and where they're spending too much, is it they're just doing the wrong things? Is it that complicated to learn and get up and running, and they're just, or they're not trying things long enough to see if it's going to create, or are they paying third parties with a huge fat margin that it's impossible? Like, where are you finding this failure rates of good intentioned team leaders or any solo agents that are out there trying to do it, where that first domino falls that just crushes this? Any idea?
Yeah, so I would say it's two things. Number one, um, I'm a marketing person who happens to have a real estate license. So I do think I'm a little bit of a unicorn in that most real estate agents are really good salespeople. Like they love this the sales portion of it, the opening the door, the smelling the
Yeah,
smelling
yeah.
the flowers in the backyard. I got out of production probably 10 years ago, not because I wasn't good at it, but because I just wasn't passionate about it. Like right now, if it's like, hey, you know, a buddy of mine calls me like, hey man, I need to sell my house. I'm like, dude, let me connect you with Josh. He's the guy that runs the team for me. I would love to do it, but I'll probably fumble it. Josh is the guy. And it's like, because I know that my passion doesn't exist in that process anymore, my passion exists in the marketing side. So
Yeah.
I would say most people just aren't marketers. They're just not. So they dabble. They never stay in it long enough to learn it. But ultimately it's because they don't like it. So we used to have for a few years, every month I would bring 15 to 20 people to my office. They would all pay $1,000 to spend 2 days with me to learn my entire marketing system. Two things would happen. Number one, because we use Facebook, we would have people raise their hand and go like, hey, Joe, really quick, how do I log into my Facebook account? I'd be like,
Right.
oh, gosh. And I just go like, you don't. Please go hire someone to do this for you. Like not go hire Zillow, but just hire someone to run your Facebook stuff for you. Or number two, they would get it, they would understand it, they would go back to their market, they would do it for a minute, And then after a month or so, they go like, I'm just going to go back to doing open houses and whatever. So I think I know very few teams that run their own marketing system.
And it's all outsourced. And then the internal conversion long term, do you find in again the success comes with ISAs to support that, or are you better training your agents from your success? Because you've managed this in multiple markets, right? You've
Yeah.
not only used velocity and you've opened expansion teams, which is
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
rare. And I think if you came to Calgary, if you came to Saskatoon, you came anywhere in the Canadian market, you'd probably be able to turn up the dial,
Pretty
run
easy. Yeah.
and so when it comes to conversion and ultimate profitability, that was that one lever that was probably the biggest change, right? Um, what um, what are you seeing there working for teams today, versus ones that are just failing to turn profit?
Number one, so I was asked, my wife is the youngest of five sisters. I was asked one time, like, what's the most important aspect to have in marriage? And I was one of the last ones to go around the campfire. And it's like, oh, he needs to be spontaneous and like she needs to have fun. And it was all this stupid stuff. And it came to me and it was like, well, what do you think, Joe? And I was like, oh, the number one aspect to have in marriage, and it's not even close, is honesty. And they were all like, boo, that's not fun and sexy, right? But I would say the same thing as a team leader. Number one, I think most team leaders aren't honest with each other or with themselves. They're just not honest. It's all hope and pray. It's all, I'm going to sign an $8,000 a month deal with Zillow. It's going to give me 16 to 20 leads. We're going to close eight of them and we'll see how it goes. And then I'll talk to them 6 months in and they're like, well, we've only closed three in 6 months, but we've got a lot of irons in the fire. Like, dude, go talk to team leaders. They'll all say the exact same thing. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. Just so you and I are on the same page, you are $46,000 into this in 6 months. Like, your three deals have probably netted the team or grossed the team 30. You've netted as a team leader 15. So not only does it have to improve, it has to improve at a magnitude, not just to make up for all the previous loss, but the future loss. They're just not being honest with each other or with themselves. So the way most teams succeed is they lose money on their team members. They make money themselves as a team leader. Their production makes up the loss. And then at the end of the year, their team will do $1 million in GCI. They'll have 8 team members who each make 100. The team owner will generate 200,000 in gross commissions at a cost of like 90. So I'm
Right.
like, you made $100,000 on $1 million in GCI. So it's like, what works is, first of all, be honest with yourself. Like, run your team economics and figure out which of those three levers, because no matter how you feel about what I said, I'm correct. Run those three levers and figure out, like, if you're not being profitable, can you increase your splits with your agents? Can you take more? The answer is probably going to be no. They're going to go, no, everyone would leave me. Okay, cool. The hardest one is conversion rate. Can you go
Totally.
from a 3% conversion rate to a 10% conversion rate? Because that would fix everything. That's a really hard task. So then what I would encourage people to do is find a lead source that the acquisition of the lead, those that close and don't close, enables their economics to still be profitable at the end of the day. That's the challenge. And so then it's like, do you do it yourself? Do you hire someone you know to do it? Or do you become, think about this, Darren, in the States, so many teams are truly employment wings of Zillow. And like, people
Right.
can hate me for that if they want. They go, oh no, our Zillow Flex is whatever. Zillow can come to every single Flex team that is built on their back tomorrow and say, hey guys, 40% doesn't work anymore. We need 55%.
Right.
And what are they going to do? Because their team closes 18 Zillow Flex leads a month. They have no other way to create leads. Like, I've just very much been hell bent on independence that nobody could take away from me.
Totally.
So
Do you play mostly in the Facebook world, the
all
Gudo
Facebook,
world? Okay, all Facebook.
all
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah.
And are they, I mean, I've done ads back in the day where they're home value leads. I've done them with, top deals under 400,000, get the search results. Is there a tactic that you found today that is catching, that is still working today among the noise of like online right now, which is
Yeah,
so noisy? Is there something you're willing or comfortable sharing? I know you run a
for
couple
100%. Yeah, I'm an open book. Um, all right. So what's the average price in Calgary right now, like in where you practice?
single family would be like 680. The
Is
average,
the median?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and yeah, for
So I
single.
would say, Darren, give me 10 homes that match very specifically what everyone wants in realistic wants. So you would say, well, everybody in Calgary wants a half acre. I'm just guessing. Like everybody would want a half acre. They would want a place to park their boat or RV. Everybody wants a basement, So you would hit this list of like dreams that everybody has.
Okay,
I would then say if our median price is 600,000, I need 10 options in between 900 and 1.5 million for two reasons. Number one, I don't want credit repair clients for you. Like I would never want to go to you and be like, "Hey man, I got a bunch of people looking to spend 300, but you got to repair their credit." That sucks.
I
Number
see.
two, I would never want down payment assistance clients for you. It's almost like if I'm going to be a fisherman, I'm going to go fish for king crab. Why would I fish for like mackerel or whatever? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I'm going to go fish for the thing that provides the most of the thing. So I would go, give me 10 options in between 900 and 1.5 million. I would then post one of those properties on Facebook. And I would say, just listed Calgary area, half acre lot, 1 story property, basement, blah, all the things, right? Just like a dating profile. If my wife dumped me and I had to go find somebody new, I wouldn't go like, you know what? I'm kind of a hypochondriac and I always think I'm dying and blah. I wouldn't say that. I would say like, I'm an adventurer. I work, but I've got financial freedom to go and do whatever I want to do, right? And this is like, I would just paint the ideal picture that any woman would go like, holy crap, like he must have money. He loves his kids, but he has freedom. That's what I would want to do. Now I do that in the marketing side, and then people would say like, hey, the comments would say, where is it and how much? And then I would DM them and I would say, hey, thanks for requesting information on this property. Just out of curiosity, you know, what area of town are you looking to be in? I'm going to get you all the details on this, and so the game starts from there. But
Gotcha.
I look for the milkshake that would bring all the boys to the yard. Like, what is the house in your marketplace? Because what I'm actually looking to do is I'm looking to find Calgary area homeowners who own a $600,000 house, who are ready to move up to $1 million house, that are intrigued at a $1.5 million house that you then start a conversation with. So we find that 1.6 of every lead, like one point, sorry, half of the leads we generate create a 1.6 transaction, meaning they often have a home they need to sell more often than not.
Interesting.
It's because they ask about a $900,000 house, they own a $500,000 house, and we have to sell in order to get them a $700,000 house. And we just
Yeah.
kind of rinse and repeat that same thing.
And that goes along with what I've always shared and thought, and I don't know where I heard it from, but when people move up market, they generally move up 30 to 40%, right?
Right.
So it's kind of exactly like what you're sharing. I didn't think you were going to say go up market with your ads. I actually, everything you see out there, and this is probably why the masses maybe aren't winning online and give up, is that most of the lead flow comes in just down market, and it's
Right.
less than average sale price. It is the person that, doesn't have the credit, all the things that you just shared. So right there is a massive differentiator for you. And I love the fact that, again, I've always thought online leads had 30 to 40% of homes to sell, but that's only if they're the right online leads, meaning they're already in home ownership, meaning what you've just shared is going after the market that does. So those
Well,
are
why would you catch a fish that you don't want to eat?
totally,
Like
yeah,
marketing is hard. So if it's going to work, why not have it work on something that, like, let's just say you and we spend $1,000. For $1,000, you're going to generate 50 leads, or maybe not that many, whatever it ends up being. Um, for $1,000, you're going to create 20 leads, call it. Of those 20 leads, you're either going to have 20 people looking to spend 900,000 that have a home they need to sell, or you're going to get 20 people who work at Taco Bell and they're just hoping that they can rent it. So why not just get So I'm just very simple. I'm not going for the most number of leads. Like if I put a home out there in Calgary, it's like you won't believe what you could get for under 400,000 in Calgary. All you're going to get is people like, will they carry the note? Uh, can I get a down payment assistance? My credit's not great, but I hope to get there one day. And it's like, holy crap, you're just creating a bunch of terrible work for yourself. What if you then go and get a $1.5 million house and a bunch of people are like, you know what, I'm capped out at a mill. Like,
Mhm.
we can do that.
So great. Yeah, I love it. I think it'd be contrary to how most lead generation companies also drive lead flow, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, and again, why so many people don't love the leads they're getting. And they always say things like leads are crap. Online leads are, what I mean? They're garbage, right? When a lead comes in, Joe, and you're running Facebook, what's the team's first move? Is it to get the comments going and to drive comments and then create that one-on-one interaction in the comment? Or are you running them to a lead form? I know this is getting technical. Or are you running them right out of Facebook and driving them into your own CRM? Like what's your team's first and second move?
So let's just go back to the dating analogy. If you're like, Joe, I got this girl, like she's super cute. I would go, well, yeah, let me just get her phone number and like I'll hit her up, right? Our primary objective is to have your name and to have your phone number. And then our agents know that there's some intent and curiosity around homes.
Okay. Yeah.
So we engage with them first through Messenger on Facebook. We then take it to our CRM and assign it to an agent. So then we'll tell the agent, like, hey, Darren was looking at 123 Main Street. Here's his phone number. Go get him. We
Gotcha.
don't use ISAs. I haven't had success with ISAs. I'm sure other people have. For me, ISAs create the handoff is always messy. So thinking about it this way, if I'm running an ad, I'm engaging with you on Messenger. I'm like, hey, Darren, Deanna from my team's going to reach out with all the details. I don't have the link to the property with me, but she's going to send it to you.
Yeah.
That's already one handoff. If now you get a call from Susie, and Susie's like, "Oh, hey, Darren, great to meet you. You know, just out of curiosity, whatever." And then it's like, "Okay, cool. Now I'm going to have Deanna hit you up." You're like, "Holy crap! I'm on person number 3 already." So that's I haven't had success with ISAs. For us, each of our agent is trained to, in a sense, be an ISA.
We always had the best conversion rates that way too. It almost didn't, and then when the lead flow was appropriate, I found the complacency from the agent didn't creep in. When
Yeah,
you over lead flow them, which is really easy to do if someone wants to spend, especially back in the day when leads were cheaper, but you
right.
would get too many leads per agent, and then the agents just, oh, another one's coming, another one's coming. But I'm assuming you're
So
governing that a little bit. Is that right?
yeah. So um, we very simply work off of a 3 to 5% conversion expectation.
Right.
So again, you and I talked about some of the changes we've experienced recently at Real when it comes to sponsorship. I now am in less need of agents that don't make me money being a part of my world. And so, like for me now, if you're going to be on my team, I'm going to expect you to close 8 leads a year. Like, I don't need 30.
Right.
I also want to run a McDonald's model, not a Ruth Chris model, which means like I don't need the most capable agent ever. Like I don't need a rock star on my team. I
Right.
need a bunch of base hits. Like I need a bunch of guys and girls that are just like, you know what? Let me just close 8 leads and 6 SOI deals a year. Perfect. So in order to do that, I have to run reverse engineer the math and say, Darren, if you're on my team, I'm going to give you 25 leads a month. At 25 leads a month, the expected close ratio of 4% gives me one transaction expectation a month. Once you get up and going, and it's not always you get 25 this month and one of them goes into escrow next
Oh,
month, right? It takes a little while to get it going. The problem is if I give you 100 leads a month, you're just going to cherry pick. The best numbers I've heard is a good real estate agent can only nurture anywhere from 75 to 125 leads in their current database. So
right.
we try to keep databases down to about 100 people. So each month you get 25 new ones. If you're going to put 8 of them into your permanent lead nurture database, you've got to find 8 you're going to kick out
Gotcha.
because we can't just build it up to 500 people. You're never going to work that many people. So monthly, we we reverse engineer the math to give you enough leads to close one deal a month. And then evergreen, we make sure you don't have more than 100 people in your database because you won't nurture that many people.
And when you're throwing, who's running the lead pool in the team? Do you have an internal staff that's
Yeah.
running those long-term automated touch points? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting better. Like, we tried, there's a company in the States called, can't even remember the name of it, Fellow. We tried Fellow. We've tried a million different things. Um, right now, we let agents get into ponds and
Right.
call old leads. I don't love it. I mean, I think we're going to see some AI products come online that are going to really take care of that for us.
Gotcha.
Um, So right now, agents can get into ponds and call and text old leads, but we don't have a great process for it right now, other than just like, hey, if you don't have anything going, hop in a pond and start calling people.
Totally. Or a new agent comes in and maybe
Right.
there's you promise and they're
We
willing to dive in.
we do get pretty gangster about the no call registry. We're like, dude, we don't need any FCC issues, so um, make sure you're not calling people that are on the DNC list and stuff like that. But we try to scrub the database as much as we can.
And is it still like, again, I'm assuming it's still speed to lead monstrous. Is that fair?
Hmm.
And then is
Hmm.
it again going down to the 10 days of pain, Ben Kinney style, where is it still just multiple touches per day,
Yeah.
first 3 or 4 days, and then run that hard? I call it the
Hmm.
qualifier, the chase, like for 2 weeks, and then it kind of backs out. Is it still similar to that, like super front-ended, multimodal, and that's just what still is needed for a 3 to 4 to 5% conversion rate?
Yeah, we've typically gone down the buy die restraining order thing. Like you're either going to buy with me, you're going to die, or you're going to issue a restraining order. But we try to keep that as short-lived as possible.
Yeah.
So it'll be a couple of touches the first day. If you can't get a hold of them, a couple touches the next day. If you look at Chris Smith conversion code, the likelihood of transaction goes up after attempt number 9.
Right.
So we try to go long enough to at least have somebody, to tell us like, hey, here's what I'm looking for, or why don't you go screw yourself, one or the other, and we're okay with whichever one it is.
Yeah.
What we try to avoid is I texted him, like, here's a great story. We had an agent on our team come into Taylor and say, hey, all these leads suck. And Taylor was you know, like, I've never heard that before. We hear it all the time, but I've never heard that before. Like, what's going on? And just like everyone I call isn't interested, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, well, let me just call some of your leads. So he sat down with the agent and started calling. The first lead he called told him to go screw himself, and the agent felt very validated. Lead number 5 or whatever he called, lady picked up and just said, oh, hi, Taylor. Yeah, like, to be honest with you, I don't want to waste your time. We're just looking. Most agents at that point would say like, okay, cool. Well, my name's Darren. I'm great. I play hockey and like, let me just, I'm here for you if you ever need me.
So
Taylor said something really great, which was, well, let me ask you this. What does just looking mean to you? Just so I can understand how we can best help you. And she said, we're probably like 90 days out from making a purchase. That there is the difference between the perseverance somebody has to have to be successful in lead conversion and the I told my wife I was working, I made my calls, somebody told me they were just looking, so I was like, okay, thank you, sir. I can't wait to get off the phone. We really try to sniff those people out and just go like, hey man, this is not for you. A perseverant, a dedicated agent is going to go, well, help me understand that. What does just looking mean to you? Some people are going to go like, we're not moving for 5 years, but there's a portion of people who are going to go, yeah, I mean, we're 2 or 3 months out. And
yeah,
we just try to find that out as soon as
kind
we
of the
can.
guts to have that extra attempt. And I found that door knocking with some agents. I brought 12 of my agents out. We just did some door knocking for fun and I partnered along with it. And it's so funny. It's like oftentimes it'll be the third pseudo ask in a different thing that will get them
Yeah.
to perk up, right? So as long as you have a few things in your arsenal that you're not just willing to just like pack it in the moment they say a kind of a weak no, you know what I mean? And you learn enough about your scripting to just take it one more try, a second try, and that's usually what can open them up, right?
Well, I think about it this way. I spoke on a 4 hour panel at a steakhouse in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was like, dude, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And it got to a point to where the moderator for the panel, some national like title guy, just said like, hey, Joe, let me ask you this. How do we get home buyers and home sellers off the fence in 2025? Like, how do we get them to transact?
Mhm.
And I looked him, and there were, 200 agents there, and I looked him straight in the eyes and I said, I'm going to disappoint you really bad right now. You don't. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, man, let me just boil it down for you. What do I tell my agents? We are looking for people who are getting divorced, who are getting married, who are having children, who are getting transferred for a job, who are underhoused, overhoused, parking a boat in the front yard that their wife won't stop nagging them about. Like, we're just looking for people who are moving because.
Right.
I don't want to be the because. I don't want to be like, well, Darren, did you realize like you're at 6.5? I can get you down to 6.2. And if we do that, it's going to save you $100 a month. And like, I am not in that business. So with our agents, we're very simply like call all these leads and just be like, hey, Darren, before I send you over this information, just out of curiosity, the market's kind of strange right now. What's got you looking right now? You're like, I'm getting married. And my wife grew up in a home where her parents always rented. She doesn't want to rent. It makes her feel insecure about the future. So I'm buying a house. And you're like, then you're my guy. And so it's like right now, I think agents need that skill more than anything. Is just if I get 25 leads a month, I need to get to the bottom with each of them on why they chose to give us their information about a house for sale. Even if 15 people tell me to go F myself, of the 10 people left, how many of them have a true reason? Well, I just got a job. I just got fired. My wife left me. I'm getting married. We're having a kid. Now we can go. But,
Right.
the traditional lead conversion of like, hey, I've got an interest rate buy down for you and stuff like that. I just don't think that now is the time for that.
Yeah. I always say we're in the business of life transitions, which
Yeah,
is kind of exciting, right? Where no one's buying and selling a house like they do a stock, where they just like instantly, "Oh, okay, I'll buy a Tesla today at this price," right?
for
It's like
sure.
there's a life transition happening. I think you just shared that, but where I might have left at surface level saying, well, we're in the business of life transitions. That's exciting. We should be honored by that. We get to share in these really cool moments for our clients. But what you're saying is seek out as if they have a life transition, right? Like if you know that's why they buy and sell, go seek it out. And I'm like, that's a nice little powerful move for people to explore. So I appreciate that.
I mean, to go back to the dating analogy, right? Like if you're like, hey Joe, I got these like 10 girls that said they would go on a date with you if you came up to Calgary, I'd be like, all right, cool. Well, which one of them are not married? Like, let's figure that out. Like, which one of them like are ready to pursue a long-term relationship? Because I'm not a one-night stand guy, right? And like I would just go down this list of like, let's whittle it down to the two or three that are like, well, yeah, I mean, maybe there's some future here, so let's pursue that. Agents are not in that business. Agents are in the business of I'm going to talk like every single lead I possibly get. I'm gonna beat this thing to a pulp to try to make something out of it. How easy does your job become as a lead converter if you're willing to ask hard questions that lead to qualification? Not can you qualify for a loan, but Darren, what's going on, man? Like, what's life? And you're like, dude, my twins are sharing a room. They won't stop fighting. It's affecting my marriage. We've got to get out of here. And I'm like, all right, well, let's do this, right? Rather than being like, hey, did you know that if you buy within the next 30 days, I'm going to give you a $400 Home Depot credit card. Like, dude, that stuff just doesn't work.
All right, man. Well, you're not just a lead gen guy, right? You've run brokerages. You've sold brokerages, you've built expansion teams, multiple markets. You've got one of the largest networks within Real Broker. So, and you yet at the beginning you said I'm lead gen heavy. That's why if I didn't couldn't do lead gen, I really wouldn't have a team.
Right.
There's others that do culture and branding better, but you've obviously figured out how to connect the dots with collaboration, with community, with culture. Right. So we've talked heavy on this. Where do you find that plays a role in today's real estate? To maintain yourself to grow here in real estate in 2025
Yeah.
versus what we just talked about for the last 50 minutes together.
So I think collaboration is important for three very specific reasons. Number one, if you and I can share information with each other on things we're doing that help us succeed at a higher level. Real estate is a very lonely space. Like real estate is a terrible industry when it comes to like the person next to you would just as soon like slit your tires as they would give you a ride to help you close a deal. So if we can share information, um, then maybe we could go further faster together. Number two, um, how can I get a little bit of aspiration? Meaning, how can I aspire to to be like you? How can I aspire to accomplish what you've accomplished? How can I aspire to be better than I can naturally be myself? That only comes in one of two ways. You either pay a coach or you collaborate with someone who's doing, uh, uh, something bigger. And last but not least, like, how can I be inspired? Like, it's one thing to aspire to be like somebody, but it's another thing to be inspired by somebody. So we share information, we share aspiration, and we share inspiration. And in that, we have collaboration. Like, in it's the weirdest principle that came about because of companies like Real and EXP and whatever else. Because like what we were used to was if I'm going to get inspiration, information, and aspiration, it's going to come from Brett Tanner, my coach. We pay him thousands of dollars every month. So his job is give me information, give me aspiration, give me inspiration. Where you look at what we're doing, like with the ecosystem that we have at Real, and it's like, well, that's our job together. Darren hits me up like, hey man, what are you doing on this? Or I hit him up and I'm like, I saw you did this thing. I want to try to accomplish the same thing, right? And like, and that's been so refreshing for me. And what people I think misunderstand about cloud-based, collaboration-based companies is it's it's truly the person sitting next to you at the event that may change your life significantly more than the person that's up on stage.
Totally. That's great points. I mean, we all have people in our markets that have always been in the traditional world, have always stayed kind of siloed from the rest of their brokerage because they built their machine, they keep
Right.
to themselves, and they're very successful. We know but I always ask myself, well, what if? What if they actually weren't in their little world? It's self-created and it works. But man,
Right.
and that's like the elite of a lot of the traditional classes. But you and I know when you get yourself in seats like this and rooms, it definitely changes you. I've also seen it where people have pulled back, where they might have been collaboration ambassadors for a while, hey Joe, and then they might find a path away from the collaboration,
Yeah.
and then they go back to reverting. And I've yet to see an agent excel upwards. I've yet to see the hockey stick when they left an environment like this and go up. If
Yeah.
because I have data on all of them, it always saddens me to see that by retracting away, it's like what got you here is not going to get you there. Well, like they lose big parts of that and they
Yeah.
see their businesses decline. And it's a bit saddening. Have you seen that too in your world?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's harder to play the long game. Like it's easier to just go, what not only have you done for me lately, but what are you going to do for me right now? And that's the short game of like if I share with you something that's working for me, knowing that there may never be a financial boomerang effect to it, can I just can I be okay with that? And a lot of people aren't. But I think you and I have both seen the people that live that way are the ones that have the longest tail success. And I think that's been a very rewarding process for me. I've gotten out of the what's in it for me mentality, and I've just tried to maintain an abundance mindset, which is if I can learn from or educate or get inspiration or inspire, if I can aspire to be like someone else or cause someone to aspire to be like me, in the long run, if you win, I win. And and I learned that, and we got 2 minutes left. Like I learned that, Amy and I for years were just collaboration friends. Like there was no, she was at Keller Williams. I owned an independent brokerage. She was in Toronto, Canada. I was in the United States in Vegas. And then I moved to Rio and I'm like, one of the first calls I made was to Amy and I'm like, hey, we got to talk about this. Like I would love to work with you. We now have a vehicle. I don't need to charge you coaching and you don't have to charge me coaching. Like, let's just work together.
Yeah.
And, but it only existed because for years we collaborated without cost. It was just like, let's just work and help and collaborate together. And then eventually a vehicle came along that allowed us both to win because of it.
Awesome, man. Well, Joe, I could chat with you about tons of things. This has been phenomenal. Before we wrap, where can agents go if they want to connect with you or learn more about whether it's Velocity, which is I know it's a
Yeah,
program that you do to help run lead flow, joining, in around United, all the parts that you're part
sure.
of, and then even your team. Anything, where's the best place to
Just
find
at Joe Herrera on Instagram.
Okay.
I should be relatively easy to find. There's Joe Herrera is a very common name. Herrera is the Hispanic version of Smith, so it's like a very common name. Um, but I should be easy enough to find on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, for everybody listening, here's, I guess, one of the takeaways. Leads aren't always the problem. Conversion oftentimes is. Joe's shown us that the right system can generate incredible opportunities, even in today's higher cost environment and in any market. And only if you pair it with relentless follow-up, proper messaging, and then base it around a culture that does that. So thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. Please hit up Joe. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's always on social. Joe, thank you again for being on with me today.
Thanks, buddy. It's good to see you.
All right, buddy. We'll see you again soon.